morning, everyone, and welcome to the final streaming day of the week. What a week it's been. Brand new releases, multiple concluding playthroughs, and a lot of chill vibes. Today will be no exception because we've got more Death Stranding 2 and an epic Friday night fight stream that I'll tell you about in just a few moments. But before we get to all of that, we've got a great podcast because today I'm going to be live reacting to updates regarding the entire Capcom gaming lineup. Street Fighter 6 has a new DLC coming out featuring Sagat. Pragmata has a brand new update explaining the game. And Resident Evil Requiem has a lot more information available. All of this came out yesterday, and so today on the show, it's time to give it a look. Plus, we'll be talking about next week's IndeVESTdence Day Marathon and more. So get ready. Hold on to your butts. It's time for an epic week-ending episode of the Level 1 Podcast.
Attention! The games are about to begin. Oh, hail the king!
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the show. It is Friday, the 27th of June, 2025. I'm DSP, and this is the Level 1 Podcast here on DSPGaming. So, a little heads up. Usually, every month, I update my background here, and we have things refreshed. Well, this month, I've decided absolutely not. I'm just going to keep everything exactly the same and be nice and boring for July. Okay, maybe not. What we're going to do is refresh it over the weekend because even though technically Sunday is still June, we've only got a couple of days of June left. Friday is IndeVESTdence Day, July 4th, and obviously I want to have some nice festivities and things lined up for that. So, I am excited to update everything for you, and I actually have a bunch of new components that I can add to the background for the new month. And I'm curious which ones I should add. I have multiple new lights and lamps. I've got this cool thing that actually makes a component of my setup part of the background. I'm debating what I should do. Got a few options, and I'll mess around with it over my day off tomorrow. And when we come back on Sunday, the background will be refreshed for the new month. So you can say bye-bye to the ghost for now. He'll be retired for a little bit and come back later in the year. And should be fun. Also, brand new animations. I will refresh these animations. Actually, this is the wrong ones. Supposed to be for the podcast. I will refresh these animations not only for the show. Powerpuff Girl. There we go. I will refresh these animations not only for the show of the Level 1 Podcast, but also in general for when we're just hanging out. In between and the like. What I do is a general animations that I play when I'm doing like the intro to my night streams and stuff like that. And then I have a Level 1 Podcast series of animations for when I'm doing the show. So we'll have all new stuff as of Sunday. All right. So look for a nice summertime refreshment here on the channel as I come back Sunday morning. So I hope you're all doing well. And I hope that you're all enjoying the content. Yesterday was a great day here on the channel because first off, we had no podcast, but we jumped right into Death Stranding 2. I'm going to give you my summarized thoughts about the game this morning, but I'm not comfortable doing a first impression style video yet until we play it today. And the reason being, yesterday was the cinematic intro, the initial first gameplay, but we haven't even fought the BTs yet. If you don't remember, the BTs are these creatures coming from the afterlife, monsters that are out to, like, hurt people, and they're really creepy, and it's a gameplay element that's different from just the carrying of packages across the landscape and or avoiding raiders. So until I actually get the BT gameplay in, I don't really think that I can do a proper first impressions of the game. But after today's stream, I think I will. I'll do an actual like highlight video where I'll make it the highlight of the weekend and say, hey, here's my first impressions on Death Stranding 2. So expect that. But today, another awesome session, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the game so far in just a moment, okay? So that was great yesterday. It went well. We had good attendance. People were very interested in my initial impressions of the game. The game looks gorgeous, ran really well, and, looked great in my footage. And all my parts got claimed. That's right, because the game used licensed music, which I'm not opposed to. The music actually was really nicely executed in the game. I thought that it had a good usage in the way that it was, crescendo of lyrics and singing at certain parts of you doing gameplay and stuff like that. But because it's licensed music, all the videos from yesterday are already claimed, and I can't make anything on them. So it is what it is. If you are so far enjoying the Death Stranding 2 playthrough, I hope that you will support it in some way. Whether you like it, you leave a comment on it for engagement purposes. Whether you would maybe think of doing maybe a tip or something like that, dropping by a stream, saying hello, doing a super chat, giving a sub on Kick if you're here, something like that, because I make absolutely nothing on the videos, right? What a shocking twist that in 2025, YouTube's insanely broken system would, misappropriate ownership of videos to people who don't own them, and then people who actually work don't get credit for it. It's not a big deal. The videos don't have tons of views either. To be frank with all of you, I wasn't expecting Death Stranding 2 to do so well on the channel. I even said to you that I felt this particular playthrough wasn't going to do well because of the style of game that it is. If you remember years ago, Death Stranding 1 also didn't do well, all right? And people actually told me within a few streams to stop playing it because it was boring and stuff like that. In this case, I kind of know what I'm expecting. And here's the thing. Even if the videos don't do well, because people are already watching the game on someone else's channel because the game's been out since Monday for certain people, or because people are watching the people who steal my content and watching it on their channels instead, whatever it is, I don't really care. I just want the streams to do well, because the streams are really where I get my support for and make a living. So as long as the streams are doing well, I'll keep it in the rotation. But I obviously would like your opinions on this game as we continue to play it. Today, we will definitely have new gameplay elements and things introduced. But after that, I get the feeling it's going to start to feel more samey around the third and fourth streams. So let's see how it goes. Thanks in advance to anyone who sticks around and supports. But, initial impressions coming in just a little bit, and an actual full-on first impressions video will be coming later tonight on the channel as a highlight after I've played today's stream, okay? Yesterday, the notable thing that happened on stream yesterday was actually last night, we did a summer sale stream on Steam. That is like a tongue twister. So basically, Steam's summer sale began yesterday. And unlike previous years where I wasn't a PC gamer, now I am, so it actually legitimately affects me in a good way. There's a lot of games on Steam that people have mentioned over the years or said, hey, would you try this one now that you're a PC gamer? And I'm like, well, we'll see. But now these things are on the cheap. Last night I bought Vampire Survivors. I actually bought Black Mesa, the complete edition. The game's completed, and now I can actually play it from start to finish. The Beginner's Guide, which is from the makers of Stanley Parable. Let me think. Oh, Star Wars Battlefront 2 from back in 2017. The complete edition has all the content, and I guess it has a reinvigoration this year. That's cool. I think I got Harvester. I got a bunch. I like 5 or 6 different small-time games that we can kind of throw in and do for like late-night streams every once in a while just for fun. And I also bought a big DLC pack for American Truck Simulator at like 6 different states, including Texas, okay? So between all of these states, we're going to have a lot of content to do and all kinds of new jobs and things. Really awesome. So I hope that you guys will join me for future Truck Sim streams now that we've invested in the game. and majorly upgraded what we can do in it. It's going to be pretty neat. More stuff to do, I think, will be awesome. So it was a great chill stream. We talked, we hung out, we talked about games. Well, another thing that we actually determined, which is kind of interesting and important, we were talking about moving forward some ideas for marathons, because as you know, IndeVESTdence Day is a week from today, right here on DSPGaming, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. It's going to be a very exciting, fun, chill marathon stream where we're going to have vests and hats back for the first time in like a year. It's going to be neat. But moving forward, we have to have ideas for some other marathons, because I usually do one a month. And, you know, when you get to the end of the year, it's usually easy to figure out. In October, I always do a Halloween marathon. In November, I always do a Thanksgiving time marathon. And in December, we always do a Christmas event, right? But what about in between? What about August and September? Well, taking a look at some of the stuff that on Steam, we came to a determination that one of these months I want to do the Mega Man Rageathon Part 2. For those who don't remember, back in January, was it? It was either January or February. I think it was January, but it could have been February. I did a Mega Man marathon where I bought the Mega Man Legacy Collection, and while I was sitting here very inebriated, I attempted to play through Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. I got it done, but it took a long time because it was pretty rough trying to do it while I was inebriated. Particularly Mega Man 1 is a very challenging game, okay? So, this time around, I want to play Mega Man 4, 5, and 6 and finish the Mega Man Legacy Collection in a marathon setting. Again, while inebriated, it's going to be very challenging, but it'll also be really fun. So that's going to be one of the marathons I'm going to do over the summer. The other marathon, if this is something that's up your alley, and I'm curious because obviously I want to bring this up with the general audience here on the show, would be a bad games marathon. Meaning, me intentionally playing games that everyone kind of collectively agrees are quite bad, just to have a few laughs. So, for example, one of the games that I bought last night on Steam that is historically bad and everyone has kind of taken a stab at over the years is Big Rig's over-the-road truck racing. Okay? It's really bad. Infamously, Angry Video Game Nerd did an episode on this many, many years ago, and everyone since then has kind of looked at the game and played it and laughed at it. I've never played it before, so for me, it would kind of be a interesting and fun experiment to mess with it, and it was like $4 or something like that, so I got it. Now, we already have some other games. For example, Bad Rats apparently is a really bad game, and I have that because you guys had told me to get that on Steam previous. It's another one we can check out, okay? But I'm curious what other fun, bad games there are out there that we could play during this marathon event. So if we can come up with something good in the next month or two, that could be another marathon that we do over the summer, okay? So there you go. So I hope that sounds like a good idea. Like last night's stream was very productive. Not only, you know, getting a bunch of DLCs for Truck Sim, making that a better playthrough, but buying a bunch of independent cheap games that we can play for like random night streams here and there, and also getting some ideas for marathons, right? So that's good stuff. Stuart says, what about Suicide Squad? Well, yeah, right? Suicide Squad came out about a year and a half ago. The game from Rocksteady that insanely flopped, didn't play or look anything like a Rocksteady game, and everyone made fun of it. And now, I think basically it's like one of the cheapest games ever. Like you can get it for just a few bucks. They put it on all of the subscription services for free. Like they're just handing this game away because they put so much time and money into it, and no one has played it because it's a piece of garbage, right? So, awesome. We had a great time last night. So yesterday's streams went really, really well. All right. So I'm excited for today. After this podcast, we're going to do more Death Stranding 2. As I've said, we're going to fight the first BTs. And we're going to go on from there and see where the game takes us. I hope that you guys will stick around for Death Stranding 2 after the podcast ends. It should be a good time. Tonight on Friday Night Fights, I got a good one lined up for all of you. All right. We are playing Capcom versus SNK 2. Okay. But I'm going to be facing off against good players. Unlike the previous streams where it was just me facing randoms, tonight it sounds like I'm facing the gauntlet. I'm apparently facing at least 2, if not more, people who are actually good at the game from back in the day. It's going to be Tony B and VDO are definitely facing me tonight, unless something changes between now and the night stream. And then there may be another one or two people who I face, depending on if we can make it happen or not. All right. So Friday Night Fights tonight, unlike the previous streams where I'm beating up on randoms, this one I'm actually playing good players who more than likely are going to beat my ass. These guys have played this game historically a lot over the years. They're actually quite good at it. So maybe I'll learn a thing or two playing against them tonight. I just hope for good connections. You never know what's going to happen with these games, but we'll see what happens, okay? Now, the thing is, I've been playing a lot of CVS too, so maybe I'll do decent. Maybe I'll do better than I've been doing than like when I was playing these guys in Marvel 2. We'll see. You know, I've been practicing a lot. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. All right? Good stuff. So, that's exciting. That's tonight on the late stream, 6:45 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. About 2 hours of fun gameplay that I hope you will join me for on the late shift. I'm off from streaming tomorrow. When I return on Sunday, it's another full and fun week of gameplay. There's going to be a third Death Stranding 2 stream on Sunday's day stream. And then Sunday night, we're going to do American Truck Sim. Okay. And then Monday, we're going to flip back to Blueprints as a daytime stream and see if we can actually beat the game on Monday. We'll find out. Monday night, we are doing Minecraft, our Minecraft stream. And then Tuesday, we're doing something new on the daytime stream. Tuesday night will be Mario Kart World. Now you might say, what are we doing on Tuesday? Well, we have two options. Suikoden 2 HD, which is the second half of the collection that came out earlier in the year. When I played Suikoden 1 HD, people showed up, engaged, and supported. Literally every stream we hit a support goal, and we did really well. I loved the playthrough. It was one of my favorites so far this year. So Suikoden 2 could work. Or we could play Grand Theft Auto 4 with mods. And as I've told you guys, I'm looking into how to make this happen because there's different versions of GTA 4 on PC that work with different mods. And what I'm looking is try to find the right combination of everything. Improved graphics, improved shaders / lighting, some gameplay tweaks. The map has been tweaked. You know, everything improved a bit. And I've seen the mods in action, and let me tell you, the game looks way better with mods. It looks way more realistic. It looks like you're actually in New York City / Liberty City. If you remember, the original GTA 4 had really washed out lighting and graphics. Everything was like overly bright, hazy, like foggy, and this makes it look a lot better. So I'm very excited for that, if that's what we do, because we haven't determined yet. And the thing is, I want you guys to understand, we're probably doing both anyway over the summer. Whatever we don't do this coming week, we're going to end up doing later on, probably in August. So don't worry about it and be like, oh no, if Phil decides to do this one or the other, that means the other one's not going to happen. That's definitely not the case. It's just a matter of what comes first. And I've seen some people excited for Suikoden 2 and some people excited for GTA 4. So we're kind of like figuring this out as much as we can. All right. So I love your opinions. What do you guys think? Every day I've been asking whenever I do a podcast or if I'm hanging out with people, you know, before a gameplay session, what do you guys think? What are you guys here who are here today this morning? What do you think you would like more between those two? What do you guys think? Soy codeine? Nice. Take some soy codeine. That's a little different from soy codeine. Dirt Rally and Zomboid. Wow, 2 games we're not playing. Thanks for mentioning them. Excellent. Daily Demos is GTA. Nobody wants either of those games? Oh, okay. So what would you like, Hardcore Henry? What game would you like? You can say something incredibly stupid, I'm sure. Anyway, so I'd love your feedback. All right, we got to figure this out by Tuesday. I think by the end of today, we should probably figure this out. If I do Suikoden 2, can I not do all the heroes? It drags out the playthrough a bit. I mean, to be honest, that's kind of the appeal of the Suikoden series, is the number of characters and recruiting them all and getting the better ending. So, no, if I play Suikoden 2, we will be getting all the characters, just like we did in 1. In fact, for what I don't understand, it's easier to do in 2 than it was in 1. Exactly. GTA 4 was gray. It was they wanted to make it more gritty and realistic, which I get, but it definitely made the game look just very washed out at that time. I still love the game, but the mods make it look better. They really do, so. A lot of people on the YouTube side are saying GTA 4 is what they would want. This will be starting on Tuesday, for the record. And what we'll do is it will balance that back and forth with Death Stranding 2. So it'll probably be whatever we do this on Tuesday, Wednesday, Death Stranding, Thursday, this again, and then Friday, the marathon, and then we alternate moving forward for a couple of weeks. The vibe I am getting is GTA 4 in general. Some people are saying they want Suikoden 2 right now, but the general vibe I'm getting is, number one, we just played a lengthy RPG with Claire Obscure. We don't want to go into another one right away. That's number one. And number two, it's been a while since there's been GTA content on the channel. I haven't played GTA 4 in 6+ years. So it would feel refreshing, especially with the GTA 6 right around the corner next year. It would be cool to have a GTA playthrough. So, if this is the vibe we're getting, then that's maybe what we'll go with. All right. And then Suikoden 2, we can always play later on in the summer when we have some downtime. I'd be okay with that. What do you think? Did that sound good? Can we come to a general agreement, a consensus that GTA 4 with mods is probably the way to go? Why not GTA 5 with mods? We just played GTA 5. What was it, last year, year before? We just played it recently. All right, unless someone can convince me otherwise, I think that's what we're going to go with. All right, let's just focus on that. GTA 4 with mods sounds like a plan for starting up next week. Okay? All right, we got some initial shout-outs to do. Then I want to very generally cover my thoughts on Death Stranding 2. I also want to talk about the IndeVESTdence Day event, and then we're going to do reacting to the Capcom stuff from yesterday. That's the agenda for today, okay? So let's do some shout-outs, okay? So first off, we start off with James Connor, who did a $5 super chat. Listen to this. This is absolutely hilarious. Remember when you only drank for Christmas? Yes, I remember when I only drank on stream for Christmas. That's correct. Now it's 2 to 3 times a week. No, it's not. Now it's 2 times a week max whenever I'm doing a driving game. American Truck Sim, and now we've added Taxi Life. And each night I'm drinking 2 White Claws, okay? Your days off, that's not true. Not always drinking on my days off. I don't know where you got that impression. And every marathon. That is to some extent true. The amount that I drink during a marathon is determined by the amount of support I get. It's kind of a gimmick. When you say you only used to drink on Christmas, you're right, but that's also because we didn't do marathons. Now, we do a marathon once a month, and it's a very special event, and people like it. So if it's working, why wouldn't you keep doing it, right? That can't be good for a recovering alcoholic. Okay, allow me to explain something to you. There's no such thing as a recovering alcoholic, all right, when you're talking about someone who has told you about, 7 years ago, I was overly drinking, and I was drinking almost all the time, every night, behind the scenes, awful stuff, mistreating my body, okay? Idiots say things like, well, if you're an alcoholic, you can never recover. Well, let me ask you a question. When you're an alcoholic, it means that you're completely dependent on the substance. Every day, you have an addiction. You want it. You crave it. You want it in your system. You feel better. You get those, endorphins or whatever when you actually drink, correct? And it's not just alcoholism. It's any substance abuse. For some people, it's cigarettes. For some people, it's weed. For some people, it's other kinds of drugs. For some people, it's eating, actually. But it's an addiction, correct? If you're an alcoholic, it means that you rely on this every single day. It has to be part of your routine. It has to be something that you run back to, right? Okay. Usually when you think alcoholism, you think someone has it out of control. They can't stop, right? I will tell you, there were times in my life when this was absolutely the case. There was times during the 2000s, and there were times during the 2010s when this was the case for me, where it was out of control, and I was acting in ways that I normally wouldn't because I was under the influence. It was actually hurting my lifestyle, my body, my relationships with people. Absolutely. I've told you this stuff, right? But what's hilarious about this is that people say, oh my God, wait a minute, but you were an alcoholic. You're drinking? Yes, because in life, it's not absolutes. Do you get it? In life, it's about moderation and doing things responsibly. Maybe in the past, I admit I've had substance abuse issues with alcohol. I've told you all about it publicly. I've admitted it. It's been something intimate that I've opened up about, right? That doesn't mean that today, if I drink 2 White Claws on a driving stream and I get a little bit of a buzz and we're having fun, that now I've become an alcoholic. If you think that, you're actually a fucking retard. All right? I want you to understand that. If you actually think that because someone who has problems in the past is having 1 or 2 casual drinks in a controlled, responsible environment and having fun with an audience, that they're an alcoholic, you're actually a fucking moron. And no one can help you because you actually think life is black and white. It's either you're an alcoholic or you are fucking teetotaler, straight edge. That's not how life works. Okay? So when you send me a super chat like that and you say one of the most dumb fucking things I've ever heard, I laugh at how dumb and ignorant you are. All right? I'm an irresponsible adult. I'm not drinking and then driving. I'm not drinking myself into a stupor every night and acting a fool. Okay? What you're saying doesn't exist. A responsible adult has the ability to have a drink or two every once in a while and have fun, particularly if it's enhancing the experience of a stream. You guys said me doing this when I'm doing the driving streams is kind of fun because I get buzzed and, we have fun conversation. It actually makes the driving more difficult and you can see, having, fender benders and stuff in the games. It's funny, right? So could you be dumber? No, I don't think so. I actually think that if you think that because I have a couple drinks on a driving stream that I'm an alcoholic, you're actually a fucking idiot. And you actually need help. You need help. Not me. You're the one who needs fucking help. Okay? Now, marathons, like I said, definitely interesting because sometimes I end up drinking way too much, I admit, and other times there's almost nothing. It really depends on levels of support and stuff. All right? So, and that's directly dependent on stuff. And I told you guys during marathons, I have to pace myself. I will not go crazy and drink way too much. That did happen during my birthday marathon because I didn't understand how strong that moonshine was. Oh, God. I legit drank too much and I got sick, right? That next day, I couldn't even come to stream on time. That's a situation where, things got out of hand. I adjusted. If you haven't noticed, that hasn't happened again. I'm not really doing that stuff anymore. I'm probably not going to be drinking moonshine. That's crazy. It's too strong, right? So, it's that simple. It's not a big deal. Idiots making shit up like, oh, you drink every time on your day off. No, I don't. How would you even fucking know that? Are you in my house staring at me? Do you have fucking security cameras watching my behavior? What are you talking about? Because you live in a detractor world and you're an obsessed lunatic doesn't mean you know anything about me. You're a fucking idiot. So thanks for the $5, you complete fucking moron. I hope you've now been publicly humiliated enough. Let's continue, shall we? Chris did a £2 super chat and says, hey, Phil, here's a little bit to help. Thank you, Chris. Let's get you on the leaderboard. Someone with a brain. Now, it's £2, and again, the pound is actually very valuable right now. The pound has, grown more and more in value in the last, 2 months. So let me take a look. Wow. $1.37 now. So it's about $2.73. We're going to count it as 2. But I got to be careful because sometimes it actually is worth more than the American equivalent. All right. Prophet Warner with a $5 super chat says, for the goal. Thank you to Prophet Warner. Appreciate that. Jalen with a $5 super chat. Season 3 of Squid Games released. I'm not sure if you saw the first 2, but it's a must watch. No. That's something that I didn't have Netflix when Squid Game released, and I do have Netflix now because I was watching WWE, but I haven't even opened it since WWE. So I guess we'll see if I ever get back to it. But right now, no, I'm not really interested in Squid Games. Tobomaru with a €5 super chat. Now euros are worth a little less than pounds. But I still think that this would count as a little over $5. Let's see. $5.85. Let's get that on the leaderboard. That is the biggest super chat of the day. So thank you. Tobomaru says, what games on your radar you really want to try out or are you hyped for? Well, you already know the lineup for the year. I've already gone through it. I've already told you some of the games that I'm excited for. Like, for example, Silent Hill F. Having a brand new Silent Hill game after so long is going to be cool. I'm actually looking forward to playing new releases on PC this year. For example, Call of Duty, I'll be playing on keyboard and mouse day one. So I'll have the ideal control scheme for the new Call of Duty, which I've never really had before. I've always been on pad, and now playing on keyboard and mouse. Those last couple of months that I played Black Ops 6, I realized how much better it was. So that's one that I'm legit excited for, But at the top of my head, I'm not sitting here thinking too much about, long term this year. I'm kind of just focusing on let's do some summer fun stuff and then, go from there. Hello Voltage with a $2 super chat. I'm a recovering pickle-holic. There you go. So there you go. Let me ask you a question. Just because I had problems with addiction to pickles in my youth, all right, does that mean that I cannot eat the Grillo's pickle menu on Monday when we hit the goal and we do this DSP tries it at Sonic? I don't understand what you're saying. It almost sounds like you're an idiot. Okay. Shout out to J Rod, who did a $2 super chat. Did you figure out how to purchase Steam bundles? Has nothing to do with how to purchase. The problem with Steam was it wasn't reflecting the things that I had bought after I'd bought them. So I had bought a Steam bundle of the maps of Truck Sim, and then I went into the menu for DLCs for Truck Sim, and it still said I could buy the games again. In fact, it even showed a bundle that had a state I had already bought as available for purchase, and it didn't exclude the state I had already bought like it's supposed to. So it was a Steam issue. I don't know if Steam has fixed itself. Quite frankly, I don't really care. Steam has their own issues. It's just that people it's hilarious because everyone's telling me I'm doing it wrong. Then I outright prove that it's actually Steam, and they go, oh, it must be because of the Steam sale. It's not working today. Yeah, that's what I was telling you guys all day. That's what I was saying all night. It's like, it's not working right. Like, why are you giving me a hard time when I'm showing you outright in your face that it's literally not working? Yeah, here it is, map expansions. Okay, it has updated. It updated now. It's showing that I bought Oklahoma, Texas, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas. So it shows that I have the 6 to 7 new states. So that's cool. Cool. All right. Let's see here. Ralph did a $5 super chat. Says, I'm an Xbox fan. Is the pain I'm feeling what a Sega fan felt in the late 90s and early 2000s? Oh, man. Man, that's actually a unique question. All right. So here's the deal, right? And if you're those who don't know, if you weren't around back then, the late 90s and early 2000s were really rough for anyone who was a Sega fan because Sega had been a serious competitor in the console wars for a while. First it was the Master System, then it was the Genesis / was it Mega Drive, I think they called it. And then, they jumped into the Sega CD, 32X, Saturn, Dreamcast, okay, in that order. And then they even had a handheld. Wasn't it the Game Gear or whatever? So they were completely competing with a company like Nintendo for, hey, top console dog. Keep in mind, there were other dogs in the fight back then. There was guys that were coming out with crazy consoles like the 3DO, right? Remember that thing? That crazy thing. There was another one too. Didn't Panasonic have one? Or was that the 3DO? There was 2 or 3 other crazy consoles that were way overpriced and trying to jump in and compete with Sega and Nintendo at the time, and they didn't do so well. It wasn't until Sony stepped up with the PlayStation 1 that now there was another major competitor. What ended up happening was, basically, Sega was trying to innovate, and when they did, they kind of got ahead of themselves. And what I mean by that is the Sega CD was a great idea. Having a CD-based console, means you're going to have better graphics, CD quality audio, and full motion video. The problem was the technology was too early. So when the time that they released it, it was overly expensive, and the games couldn't really do exactly what they wanted. Instead, the best they could do was interactive movies as opposed to an actual game. So you're buying a game like Double Switch, right? Where all you're doing is looking at security cameras in a house and you're clicking buttons to try to stop things from happening or whatever. Is this really a game? Not really. And so the games were very disappointing for what people were investing in it. And it wasn't until PlayStation came along where the technology had advanced. This was years later, where now you could do actual 3D polygons and things. That made sense to have the CD technology, and the price of manufacturing and CDs and everything was dropping. So Sony came in at the right time, but sadly, Sega was too ahead of the game and came in a little too early. And it kind of shot themselves in the foot because they had a great console with the Genesis that was competing with the Super Nintendo, but then they were like, well, let's go ahead further. Sega CD. Oh, wait, the Genesis is floundering. 32X, stick a giant mushroom on top, right? Wait, now that's failing. Do the Saturn. The Saturn will have graphics similar to PlayStation, so we can compare, try to compete with them. And I would even argue that a console like the Dreamcast, which was the final Sega console ever, actually had technology in it that was groundbreaking, that was better than everything else. It had a controller that was innovative. It had better graphics that were on par with like arcade machines at the time, which is why games like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 had the definitive home editions on Dreamcast. It actually had the first online play. Were you aware of this? The first actual real online play for a video game was the Dreamcast. You would dial into the cable or a dial-in modem and actually log into the Sega network, and you could play certain games with online functionalities. So it was pretty darn good, but no matter what Sega tried, it was kind of a sinking ship. Sony took over at that time. Sony overtook everything. They overtook Nintendo, which is crazy to think because Nintendo was the industry leader ever since the NES, and all of a sudden Sony is overcoming them, right? So sadly, here you are. You're in the console wars heavily. You love Sega, you love Sonic, and you love everything about it, right? It's an edgy attitude and everything. It's better. Nintendo's a kid's toy, right? But then all of a sudden, this new scrappy competitor, the Sony PlayStation, comes out of nowhere and eats up all the market share. So now when you go to the video rental place, right, you see Nintendo and you see PlayStation. You're like, whoa, what happened to Sega? Sega's this like corner area of dusty games because no one's playing Sega anymore. The Sega Saturn flopped in the United States. Within like a year, it was at discount levels. I went to Toys R Us about 1 year after the launch of the Sega Saturn. I bought the Saturn console, additional game pads, and like 7 games for like $200. They just wanted to get rid of it. No one had this thing, and no one wanted to play it. So, yeah. So now we're in Xbox era. And Xbox, oh my God. At first, Xbox was like the underdog. But then with the Xbox 360 era, Microsoft really stepped up. They added so many awesome new features like achievements, an awesome online friend system, buddy system, messaging system, Xbox Live with great online play, drop in, drop out the parties and stuff like that, better voice chat, right? For a while there, Xbox 360 was the industry leader for consoles when it came to better graphics. Of course, the Wii was always the top dog, but the Wii also had awful graphics. It wasn't really having that level of competition, right? But ever since that era, it's just been a downward slope. It really has been. And it's sad because if you were an Xbox fan, now you go to listen to what are they talking about on the Xbox show? Oh, we're going to have a new handheld that's basically just a ROG Ally you can buy right now, but it's Xbox branded. Huh? Every device in your house is an Xbox. Your phone is an Xbox. Your mouse is an Xbox. Your wrist rest is an Xbox. No, stupid. What are you doing? What are the new exclusive Xbox games that are coming out? Oh, there are none. None. Not even like there's one or two. There's none. And then when the games come out from the Xbox studios, they're terrible. The only thing Xbox has going for it right now is Game Pass. Game Pass is still great. I love being a Game Pass subscriber. I get a ton of games out of it that we play and enjoy, and there's value there. But outside of the Game Pass system, there is no advantage at this point to having an Xbox console. There's 0 exclusives. Anything that's Xbox, you can play on a PC anyway. It's just sad. It's a really sad situation how the mighty have fallen. And I can agree with you that, yeah, it's kind of very similar to the situation of Sega, where at one point they were a serious competitor. They were at one point the top dog. They were beating Nintendo. And then downward freaking spiral. All right? Awful, awful stuff. So Let's hope for a recovery, shall we? Seriously, let's hope that maybe Xbox will recover, but with their current leadership of Phil Spencer not knowing his ass from his elbow, I'm not feeling too positive about it. I think that they need to, once again, they need to gut that company and route the leadership that has no fucking clue what they're talking about. Instead of getting talking figureheads like Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, they should get people who know games, you know? And then maybe the company can succeed again. But they are putting the wrong people in positions of power, and this is what happens. Okay. Now, for the record, all right, there's someone here who did a giant super chat, $50. But I just want their name is Kill Yourself, all right? So Kill Yourself, I'm just going to say this. You should change your name. It's a pretty messed up name. It's a pretty offensive name. It's not exactly kosher in 2025. A lot of people will read that name and be like, what the hell? I'm not even going to put your name on my leaderboard. Sorry, I'm not going to do it. All right? So thank you for a $50 contribution, a $50 super chat. But I'm not stupid. I'm not going to put that name on the leaderboard. It's more like bait than anything else. Oh, look, streamer put Kill Yourself on his stream. I'm not doing it. Okay? So his message is, hey, DSP, I hope you're having a great day. Ignore the trolls. All right, I will. Thanks for $50. I appreciate that. Okay. J Rod did a $2 super chat and says, do you think that they know more business stuff than you? Here's the thing. They probably understand business lingo, business financials, right? But do they understand gaming? No. If they did, they would not be in the situation they're in. They wouldn't be saying asinine things like everything is an Xbox. You know what I mean? Like, it's not rocket science to figure out what gamers want. You just have to be a gamer. But that's the problem. The people that they put into these positions are always people who are silver spoon in the mouth of rich kids. All right. They went to Ivy League schools. Everything in their life has been handed to them. They don't have to spend any money to actually get anything. There's no actual feeling of investment or risk in anything that they've ever done. And then you throw them immediately into the helm of a company. Well, if you've never actually had stakes for anything you've done in your life, what makes you think that you can actually run a company? Right? Because the thing is, these people fail up, right? They mess up, and then they actually get rewarded for failing. They get paid to fail. And then they get promotions and bonuses, and then they actually go to other companies. You remember Don Matrick, the guy who tanked Xbox One? The launch was one of the worst console launches in history. He was elitist and said things like, if you don't want online functionality all the time, get the Xbox 360. The Xbox One isn't for you. You know, fucked up stuff. Do you know what happened to him? They ousted him from the company, and he went to become the CEO of Zynga, a mobile game company, and was paid millions of dollars. I'm not kidding you. He literally tanked one company and was hired for millions of dollars to run another one. That's the people they have in power at these companies, not people like you and me who live in reality world where we're affected by decisions of finances, where we have to realize what's of value and what's not, who play a lot of games and know everything. They hire fucking Ivy League rich kids. And then they wonder why these companies don't know what the fuck they're doing. Ivy League rich people don't know real life. They've never been exposed to it. They've been insulated from it. So what makes you think they could make good decisions? Ever heard of affluenza? Remember that? The rich kid who literally fucked up his whole life, got into a horrendous car accident, maiming and killing other people, and his legal defense in court was affluenza. Because I'm affluent, I've never been exposed to responsibility, therefore I shouldn't be held responsible now either. What? But that's the reality these people live in. No lie. That's the reality they live in. So of course they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Anyway, Cyber Elk did a €2 super chat and says, Phil for Xbox president. Thank you, Cyber Elk. There was also 2 super stickers, I believe, that I missed because they don't show up on my leaderboard. So if you give me a second here, I have to look them up manually. It looks like it's fishing. Is it fishing with a Cambodian? Yes. Fishing with the Cambodian did 2 different $5 super stickers. Thank you. Thank you for those. I appreciate that. The thing is, I can't see them myself in my queue, but I saw them popping up in chat and I realized that you had done them. So thank you for that. Okay. Now we have to switch over to the PC side of stuff. What the hell? To the tip side of stuff. Excuse me. We start off today with a generous $19 tip from Shinkin25. Listen to this. Can we get a dedicated clapping, singing, and dancing segment on the podcast? Your youngest and most supportive viewers love the dooga doogas and the rhythmic clapping. Well, there you go. Now, what you're saying is to music in the games and stuff, right? Well, listen, I don't know about you, but I tend to have fun when a game is going and there's a lot of good music going, and I can go dooga 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 doog 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 a dooga 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 dooga, right? A lot of games have that kind of a vibe to them. And I know that you may be thinking, oh, I'm making fun of Phil and deriding him by bringing it up this way. No, it's called having fun. Did you ever hear that? Maybe in life, at some point, you'll have some fun for yourself, and then you'll realize what it is to have fun is to get into something, to get into a groove, right? To feel it. You ever had to get, oh, I'm feeling the vibes right now, right? And when you're feeling good vibes, you want to just kind of like be silly about it, correct? And there's nothing wrong with that, all right? As long as you have yourself under control and you don't lose it. You know, I think that vibing out every once in a while to a cool song or a cool segment of a game is something fun to do. It's not representative of small children. Even an adult can have fun every once in a while. Were you aware of this? Maybe you're stuck in a crappy lifestyle loop, a 9-to-5 job you hate or whatever. And I'm sorry for that if that's the case. But, you know, some people tend to have a good time every once in a while. You know, I'd like to think that I have myself under control the majority of the time, but every once in a while, you just kind of let loose and have some fun. Be a little silly, a little loose. You know, instead of just uptight, stick up your butt all day, to be a little loose is actually kind of nice. But that's funny. If I try to be a little loose, people like, they do the clown emo. Oh, it's a clown. He's having fun. He's a clown. No, you're an idiot. Okay. Let's continue. I got a $5 tip here from Only Iced Infinite. I have a date next week. Can you give me some tips, please? With a woman, by the way, to clarify. You didn't have to clarify. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's 2025. You could date like a stick from outside that you found on the floor. You could have a virtual date, right? A lot of people do virtual dating now. So, sure. Here you are. Ready? Don't go too crazy. Don't be over the top. Don't try to be something you're really not. All right? Humor is great. Usually, women enjoy humor. I'll say that again, as long as it's controlled and not too crazy. You know, don't go too hard and don't fake anything. Be yourself. And if the woman likes you when you're yourself, then you found a good one for yourself, right? But if you have to act a way that you're not, if you have to pretend to be a character, if you have to, you know, overly go out of your way to basically woo someone over, then that person probably isn't for you, right? You want to find someone who you're going to be okay with spending a lot of time with, and they want to be around the real you, not the you on your best behavior, acting like a charismatic jokester. No, they want to be around the real you. So be sure that they're seeing the real you, because you don't want to misrepresent yourself. And the next thing you know, oh, we're moving in together. Wait a minute, I actually hate you. There you go. There's some good advice. All right, let's see. I got a $2 tip. I hope that you keep Death Stranding 2. It's incredible once it gets going, and gameplay actually changes a ton. Cool. Very nice. We'll see. I'm down to keep it in the rotation as long as people show up, engage, and support with it. So let's see how it keeps going, okay? We've got J-Rod did a $2 super chat. Do you think sweeping generalities are good? Yes, in absolutely every single circumstance, without any exceptions, sweeping generalities are absolutely amazing. You should use them in absolutely every opportunity that you can in your life. No matter what, without exception, sweeping generalities are the way. Very nice. Thanks for $2. And X Shooter, 37 months as a supporter here on the channel. Thank you, X Shooter, so much for your ongoing support. Very nice. All right, so folks, it's time to talk about next Friday briefly. I just want to let you know what's coming up so you know what to expect next week, okay? 1 week from today, excuse me. 1 week from today is IndeVESTdence Day here on DSPGaming. There will be a fun marathon of festivities. All right, what are said festivities? Well, number one, we're going to start around the usual time, and we're going to have some summertime fun. That day, my wife is going to be making a spread of summertime foods, which we will try for not DSP tries it, but a feasting with the king during the course of the show. We're not sure exactly what yet. She has alluded to making a homemade mac and cheese, which sounds really good. She did this a couple years ago, and it was absolutely outstanding. So if she does it again, I'm pretty stoked. We'll see what she comes up with, because obviously I got to shop for the ingredients tomorrow on my day off. So there you go. So that's great. So we're going to have that. Now, basically the event is twofold. The first half of the event, very pragmatically and matter-of-factly, is a closet clean-out. Why? I cleaned out this closet 3 summers ago. Are you aware it's been 3 freaking years since I did that? It doesn't feel like it, does it? Right? But it's been 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I cleaned out my closet. It was a huge mess, right? It was all kinds of junk and shit in there. When I cleaned it out, we found a treasure trove of cool stuff. Fan art from back in the day, a classic games collection, all kinds of shit. And that allowed me to now have a closet that was emptied out, and that allowed me to then populate said closet with vests, hats, and other things that I was using as props and parts of streaming. Well, things have changed, because in the last year, as you know, I've had a massive upgrade. My whole setup is completely different, and what's happened is this closet is now once again full of clutter and junk, stuff that I don't even know where it is, what it is, okay? And what I need to do is go through it again and figure out, this is what makes sense to keep and save, this is junk to throw out, and this is stuff maybe we could start using on streams. For example, there were things in there that now I want to use as backdrops to my streams, but I can't find them anymore. I don't remember where they are. I don't have time to dig through. So during IndeVESTdence Day, we're going to be going through all that stuff to figure out, is this equipment I want to save? Is this now outdated crap I can get rid of? You know, we're going to go through it all and figure that out. All right. In addition, we'll probably be re-looking at art, and that classic games collection is still in there and all that stuff. It's going to be a fun, chill day. All right. That's one of the things we'll be doing during that day. But also, this is going to be the big retirement ceremony for the vests and the hats, which I used to wear on stream every single day for like 4.5 years, right? It all started in 2020 with the vest streak, and then after that, it was vests and hats and all this kind of hoopla. Well, we haven't done it now in about a year. Reason being, I phased it out. Now I wear nice clothes, right? Now we have a great backdrop. I don't need to be doing silly gimmicks and things to be successful. People just like me and support my content no matter what. And I'm very appreciative of that I don't have to play dress up every day anymore. I'm a little older now, and I think it's kind of silly, and we've gotten past that point, correct? But I still have a closet full of it. I have like 10 vests, like over a dozen hats, all right? So here's what we're going to do on Friday for the IndeVESTdence Day event. For every $50 of support raised, we're going to have a wardrobe change. So when the first $50 of support is raised, we're going to do a poll. You guys are going to vote. Do you want to see one of 4 hats? And what wins the poll, I'm going to put on that silly hat. Then when we hit $100 of support, it's going to be our first vest. And you're going to vote on what vest you want me to put on for the first one of the marathon. And so I'm going to wear that until more support comes in. Every $50 milestone, we're either going to do a hat swap or a vest swap. Okay? The idea is to try to get through the entire closet. All right? All of the vests, all of the hats, see them all as a big send-off. Keep in mind, I have some of the most zany stuff. I have a giant Viking hat. I have a football helmet. I've got a silly red fedora. I've got all these crazy hats, zany hats that I've worn over the years. I've also got a good variety of vests. I got more practical, normal vests. They're like beige color, blue. But then I got crazy colors like military camo or the Pokemon vest or the platinum vest, right? So it's going to be pretty fun. And, excuse me. And I'm excited to go through them one final time. And by the way, this will be the first time ever you'll actually see them in good quality HD because I finally upgraded my setup to all be good quality cameras and everything. Hell, we can even do multiple angles, right? Here, we could do double vestments. Double vestments. You can see the angles, a hat and vest from two different angles at once. How cool will that be? All right. Now, as many of you would say, well, this is stupid. Well, I mean, the whole thing was, it always was. Do you get it? Like the whole vest streak, putting on hats and gunner glasses, it always was stupid. But that was the silly gimmick was, well, all these other streamers were doing streams where they were actually having sexualized content of, ooh, ASMR, and oh, if you send me a contribution, I'll write your name on my arm and then I'll take my top off and I'll jump in a hot tub full of Jello. While they were doing all of that, I was literally putting clothes on and making a living doing it. You understand? That was supposed to be like the joke. But it really was a big part of my streams and my content for a long time. And now it's time to give it a proper send-off. All right? So during the IndeVESTdence Day Marathon, there's going to be a closet clean out. There's going to be hats and vests and things being worn. We'll actually reminisce about the times, like when did I implement this vest? What times did I wear it over the years and things like that? And it's going to be a formal retirement of all of that stuff. I'm not saying I'm going to throw it out. I'm not. But what I want to do is put it into storage bins and then store it in the closet. So if we have another special event, maybe we'll do it once a year. Hell, maybe we could do it every 4th of July. The IndeVESTdence Day returns, where we do this marathon where that one day only, for milestones of support, I put on silly hats and vests and things again to reminisce about the old times, right? That could be fun. So we're going to do that. All right. Now, also, I'm going to go to the liquor store tomorrow and I'm going to see what they got, see if they got anything fun or silly. Rebecca had been saying they have silly things like they have alcoholic boba shots or something. I don't know. I've never seen that before. I guess I'll see what they got at the liquor store and maybe get a couple things for the event. You know, it's going to be more party. I'm not going to be getting freaking moonshine and shit like that. I want it to be more like a summertime party like atmosphere, right? So, you know, hey, if I'm going to put on a hat, I'll also pop one of these silly boba alcoholic things at the same time, you know, and see what it's like and rate it or whatever. I don't know. I got to see what they got because I don't know what they have. I have to take a look and see what kind of silly stuff they have at the liquor store and go from there. But it will be a party-like atmosphere that whole day. All right. So we'll see how it goes. But I think it's going to be a fun day of some booze, some hats, some vests, getting the closet cleaned out so I can actually use it for stuff now. Because that's the problem. My floor, I got switch 2 shit over there on the floor. I have nowhere to put it. I want to clean out the shelving and everything. So now I have room to actually use the closet again and be able to get in there. There's shit in there I know I'm going to throw out. There's stuff that I used to have for my backdrop that I'm probably never going to use again. And there's art that I'm probably going to push to the side to put it back into storage and stuff. You know, I really need to get the time to do that. But at the same time, I can show you all the cool stuff that's in there. You know, it'll be a fun event, a hangout day. And a lot of people who want to be harsh about it don't realize 3 years ago when I first announced the Closet Clean Out Marathon, people said it would never work. It was one of the more popular things I had done in years. Seriously, people loved it. So it was so good that people were asking me to clean out the other closets in my house. And I was like, I think I'll hold off on that. Okay? So this should be fun. Hope that you guys will join me on IndeVESTdence Day 1 week from today, a day-long marathon event. Okay? Cool. All right. More shout-outs. We've got Dwayne Zapane, who did a $5 super chat, says, write my name on your arm. No, I will not do that. But thank you, Dwayne, for a $5 super chat. All right. So what I want to do now to end the show is I would like to react to a couple of trailers / information released from the Capcom event yesterday. All right, the first thing I would like to react to is Sagat who will be the next DLC character in Street Fighter 6. So let's take a look at this together and see if he looks any good or not. I'm going to see, what my analysis is of his abilities. Ready? Here we go. Let's check it out.
Hey, come on, let's go! Wait for me!
I definitely think it's cool they have his Thailand background back. That's the statue and everything from Street Fighter 2. That's really neat. Oh, that's his outfit? Oh, wow, that's pretty cool, actually. Will he say Tiger Uppercut or Tiger Blow in this one, I wonder? August 5th. Is that... Wait, that's it? That's it? That's all they showed? They didn't show any gameplay? You've got to be joking. I was thinking this is going to be gameplay. We could analyze the gameplay and see what he plays like. That's it? Well, I do like the outfit. I think the outfit looks pretty cool. But man, that is absolutely a waste of everyone's time. August 5th, okay, good. So it's a, little over a month. That's awesome. I'm very excited for that. But outside of that, I guess we have to wait. That was pretty silly because they announced it as, the big reveal. Is that do you think that was a reveal? It didn't show anything. All right. What I really wanted to watch was this. This is Resident Evil Requiem creator's message. So I guess they're going to outline a whole bunch of information about Resident Evil Requiem. All right. Let's watch this. This I'm excited for because... Oh, Jesus. Oh, fuck. Okay, hold on. Let me lower the volume. That was loud. Scared me. Try that again. All right. I have to change my underwear. Yes, let's hear about the concept for the game.
開発のコンセプトは病みつきになる恐怖というのを掲げてます。恐怖を乗り越えるね、気持ちよさ、そこのカタルシスってやっぱこう脳汁が出るんですよね。それ自体がこれもっとやりたい、遊びたいっていう中毒性を生む。そこに徹底的にフォーカスしてみたら怖いけどゲームとしても楽しい、そういうのが作れるんじゃないかなっていうのがレクイエムの出発点。
Where is this? Look at this.
バイオハザードレクイエムは、シングルプレイかつ、オフラインのゲームとなってます。
Good to know they didn't make it multiplayer.
バイオハザードで一番重要なのは恐怖体験だと思うんですけれども、今作においてはその恐怖体験っていうところに、しっかりとフィーチャーした内容に仕上がっているんじゃないかなと思ってます。
Okay. So you're gonna play as what's her name? I forgot her name already.
今回の主人公は
Yeah.
FBI 捜査官グレース・アッシュクロフト。内向的で怖がり。バイオハザードとしては割と新しいタイプのキャラクターを作ろうとしています。プレイヤーと同じ目線で一緒になって怖がれる、こういうキャラクターを狙っています。物語の中でもちろん絡んでも。
What's crazy about this is, so I guess she's supposed to be like a lay person to Resident Evil. She doesn't know that there's been this giant conspiracy for like 20 years going on in the world with biohazards and all of this with Umbrella and these other companies, right? But to us, we've been so into Resident Evil since the 90s. It's like, how does anyone not know? But she's supposed to be someone who is completely like ignorant to all of it happening. There's still someone who doesn't know about this? I mean, how the hell did they cover up Raccoon City? That's a good question. Has it ever really been answered how they fully covered up Raccoon City?
克服し成長していくんですけども、 FBI 捜査官なので
Oh, wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. No fucking way. That's the lobby from Resident Evil, the handheld game. This is the lobby of the ship. Or at least they tried to make a new building look like the lobby of the ship. That looks exactly like the lobby of the ship from Resident Evil. God, what was it called? Anyone remember the one that was on 3DS? I can't remember what it was called now, but it was really good. I actually really liked it. And then they eventually made a sequel that was both console and, and all of that. But that's totally... Was it Revelation? Was it Resident Evil Revelations? Yeah, it was, right? Resident Evil Revelations. That's the foyer or the lobby of the ship. So that's cool that that's in this one. I wonder how that's going to come into
され
play.
てますし、冷静な推理力とかも発揮しつつ活躍するキャラクターになってます。レオンを主人公にしようっていうのは実はずっとあったんですけども、どうしてもレオンを使ったバッチバチのホラーっていうのが割と難しくて、落ちてきたバケツにびっくりするとか。
I understand. So they were like, listen, if we make a game that has Chris or Leon as the protagonist again, these guys are hardened. They've been through Resident Evil so many times, they're not going to be scared by anything. So they wanted to make you feel scared again, so they made the protagonist a newcomer. Okay.
そういうレオンってそんなみんな見たくないやろっていうところで、じゃあホラーと食い合わせ悪いよなっていうのがやっぱりありましたけど。
Interesting take.
ファーストトレーラーご覧になって分かるように、グレース自身がすごいいろんな目に遭うんですね。 PV で断片的には入ってるんですけれども、逆さずり一つとっても顔の赤らみ、高揚感であったりとか、
Yeah, we don't know what's
うっ
going
血
on
してる
here. It's
表
being
現、
experimented on.
あとは髪の毛もかなり力を入れてまして、自分たちでスタッフと一緒にプロの方を呼んで実際にウィッグを使ってそこからシミュレーションして CG に落とし込んだりとかもしています。
バイオハザードレクイエムはですね、一人称視点と三人称視点、
really?
2つの視点で自由に切り替えながら遊ぶことができます。
that's
主観視点だとその恐怖を間近に感じることができて、緊張感のある、臨場感のあるゲームプレイっていうのが可能になります。三人称視点だとキャラクターの肩越しでの視点というところでアクション、そういったところがよく見えるゲームプレイになると思いますので、
Yeah, so
アクション
what do you guys think? Since you can now swap, like what's the ideal way to experience Resident Evil? Resident Evil at first was fixed camera angles for the original trilogy. Then it went to third person over the shoulder for the second trilogy. For the last two games, it's been first person. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that, people are complaining they can't see the subtitles? Well, the subtitles are saying you can switch between first and third persons, is what it's saying. So what do you think? Like, what's scarier? I feel like there's situations where first person's scarier, and there's situations where third person's scarier. I don't know. I would say third person is more action oriented, and that's what he's saying right here. The third person perspective is great for people who enjoy action. So I like the idea that you can swap whenever you want. Maybe you want to play certain parts of the game in one perspective and certain parts in the other. That'd be cool. Okay, cool.
アクションが好きだなって思う方には、三人称視点の方がおすすめです。
I think it's neat you're going back to Raccoon City after so much time.
滅菌作戦以降30年近く経つんですけども、ゲームの舞台として登場します。
So basically it's real time, right? Because it's going to be 2026, and when was Resident Evil 2? It was near then, right? Okay.
その当時アンブレラ事件っていうのでシリーズがヒットして、それ以降もさまざまなキャラクターたちが、いろんなラクーンシティって起きた事件をきっかけに立ち向かっていくようになったり、人間成長したり、そこに今回この表現のメスを入れるっていうのが作り手としてはやっぱりかなり緊張感を持って臨ませてもらったっていうのが大きかったですね。
ラクーン事件に関わった、もしくはラクーン事件に巻き込まれて大きく人生を変わってしまったり、命を落としてしまったりと、そういった登場人物がたくさん出ます。レクイエムは彼らに向けての言葉通り鎮魂であり、
Okay.
もっ
There
と
you
言う
go.
とバイオハザードシリーズ、ラクーン事件、アンブレアをきっかけに生まれたシリーズのある種一つの区切りという意味でレクイエムというタイトルをつけています。
What I really hope is that as a result of this, they go back to the roots, because I'll be honest, I like Resident Evil 7 and 8. I do. But it really like jumped the shark around 5 when everything became this weird Ouroboros going on, and it just didn't feel like Resident Evil anymore. It felt like an action game, but it didn't feel like horror, and it certainly didn't feel like zombie outbreak Resident Evil. With 6, they tried to tie that back. If you remember, part of 6 has a zombie outbreak, but other parts have the mutations and everything again. So if they really are going back to the original roots, okay, I like that. But then again, they're already showing a part of here where she's in a house and there's one of these big mutated creatures chasing her, and it ain't a zombie. So I don't know. It seems like it's not. I don't know. They're saying Requiem, tying back to the original. So I guess we'll have to see.
バイオハザードレクイエムは2026年2月27日に発売予定です。2026年3月にバイオハザードシリーズ
There you go.
30周年を迎えます。30周年記念タイトルの名に恥じぬようなゲームとして本作リリースしたいなというふうに思っております。
Okay.
ブレスの母親は
大きく方針を転換してですね、
実写映画を目指すというところで
Further interviews with the creators that didn't fit into today's presentation will be released today on the Resident Evil portal.
Whoa!
Register your Capcom ID to see the rest.
ラクーンシティっていうところは基本触っちゃいけないもんだと。
Okay, so the takeaways here. All right, the takeaways here. What this idiot is. The takeaways here are, number 1. That's not the takeaway. There we go. Number 1, Leon is not the protagonist like everyone had thought. It's going to be this Grace Ashcroft. Now, Ashcroft is... There was a character, an Ashcroft character in Resident Evil, right? Who was it? Anyone remember? I guess she's supposed to be the daughter of the Ashcroft family or whatever, who was part of Resident Evil previous. Something like that. So that's cool that there's someone who's like, again, not exposed to any of this, being exposed to it for the very first time. It's going to have a different feel to it, right? It will. I like that it's tying back to the original plot lines of classic Resident Evil. We've been so far removed from that. And again, I'm not saying that Resident Evil 7 and 8 weren't great games. I actually loved them both, but it's been so long that you don't feel the original roots anymore. It's almost, you feel like Capcom forgot all about that Umbrella zombie stuff. But if we're going back to that, then I think that'll be pretty neat. I hope that we do go back to that original stuff. I guess we'll have to see. So anyway, looks good. The graphics look great. I like the idea that you can alternate between first and third person. I like the idea that it's a Requiem that's going to tie back to the classic plot lines and things like that, okay? Nick Smith did a $5 super chat. It's called a teaser trailer, not a reveal trailer or gameplay. It did what it intended to do. It teased you. Yeah, I don't like being teased, all right? I'm 43 years old. I don't need to be teased. I want to be satisfied. I want the deets. I wanted to see Sagat whooping ass with all kinds of new combos and moves, and instead, all I got was Sagat carrying his training log or whatever the hell it was. I'm sure Capcom will release stuff about Sagat soon. Probably like next week. How much you want to bet? Will I play it in first or third person? Requiem? Good question. I don't know. Yes, I did hear that. Apparently, Street Fighter 6 is going to have a series of summertime bikini outfits available. It's obviously a cheap way to make money, which is hilarious because people have been asking for actual outfits for years. And Capcom almost never releases outfits. And now they're like, oh, outfit 4 for everyone. They're in a skimpy bikini. Like, what? What the fuck? Why? Pretty weird. Danzak did a $5 super chat. If Wisdom starts at level 1, is the level 1 podcast a beginning or final loop disguised as day 1? You're asking the big questions. But you know what? True wisdom is not something that's handed away. It's something that's earned or learned. Therefore, I'm not going to tell you. You just have to figure it out for yourself. Because then, when you do, you'll truly get meaning out of it, and you'll feel as if you earned it, and you'll get a feeling of accomplishment. See? There you go. Excuse me. Okay. Well, guys, we got a few more extra minutes here at the end of the show. What would you like to talk about? Go ahead and tag me in the chat. Whatever you'd like to discuss, I'm all good here. And by the way, thank you so much for the super early support, and we're almost at the goal. We haven't even booted Death Stranding 2, and we're almost at our goal today, which is crazy. What will the lighting thing be for the marathon? I'll try to do something patriotic. It is Independence Day, as well as IndeVESTdence Day, so maybe I'll try to find something that's like fireworks or red, white, and blue or something. We'll see. I'll try to find something nice for it. Thoughts on Kevin Hart? Well, listen, I'm not going to be a hater. I'm not going to dump on the guy, but for the little that I've seen of Kevin Hart in movies and comedy, I don't think he's very funny, but that's my opinion. Apparently, a lot of people do. That's why the guy is everywhere and making tons of bank, and apparently, will be set for life. So I guess my opinion is moot. I don't like everything, and I don't find him very funny, but some people do. There you go. The Ashford family was from the Resident Evil Outbreak series, says the villain. There you go. That's why I don't know. I didn't play Resident Evil Outbreak. Okay. No, I have not watched any WWE since WrestleMania. I don't have any immediate plans to go back to watch it, so I don't know anything about what's going on with WWE right now. Thank you. Super Bonchon says, crispy today with the shirts. Thank you so much. Spawn Killer says, are they not bringing back Rose from Resident Evil 8? From what they said, the DLC for Resident Evil 8 is the end of that plot line. That both Ethan and his daughter Rose are gone. They're written out of the storyline now. They had 2 games in a DLC, and that was it. And now they're moving on to new stuff, supposedly. I guess they realized they wrote themselves into a corner with the whole mold storyline. When you have an entire town full of werewolves, vampires, ghosts, it's like Halloween. I think you might have written yourself into a creative corner, and you got to hit the reset button, which is what it looks like they're doing with Resident Evil Requiem. CyberElk says, are there any games on your radar you'd like to play the whole way through regardless of support? Yeah, I'd like to see the content of Claire Obscure we didn't see. I'd like to one day play Lost Odyssey. I'd like to play Metaphor. You notice they're all RPGs, right? Like, whenever I want to play an RPG, it seems like people are not down for it, and it sucks, because I think RPGs are relaxing, they're fun, they're interactive. It's a great opportunity to do an awesome playthrough, but sadly, the audience doesn't really bite for most RPGs. Look what happened with Claire Obscure, an absolutely outstanding game that people complained the entire time that I was playing. So I don't know what else to say. It's usually RPGs are the games that I'd love to play that no one cares about. It sucks. Did I ever own a PSP? Yes. What was my favorite game on PSP? Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. I only owned a few games. I had Patapon. I had that. I had a Metal Slug game. I remember that. I bought like a Metal Slug collection game that I liked. I only had like maybe 5 games for PSP. I did like them, but I never really used it that much. I bought it mostly because I had a coworker who had told me about it, said it was really good. So I bought it, and then I was like, I don't know why I bought it. It was a waste of time and money. It was good for what it was, though. It was actually a nice handheld. What are we going to eat for dinner? What a question. What a generic question. Today, we are eating homemade curry. My wife is going to make a curry from chicken, dark meat chicken, with like carrots and potatoes and all kinds of stuff. And then it's going to be over some rice. It's going to be delicious. Any plans to do DSP versus the internet again? No. As I stated, perhaps if things end up slowing down or feeling stale with what I'm doing, which they're not, by the way, if you haven't noticed, I'm in demand all the time to play all kinds of games and stuff. So things are working out well with my new setup and everything. Like, we got more than enough to do, right? But if things ever do slow down and we get to the point where, man, we really need something fresh and new, we could always start up the variety show that I talked about, where there's various different things and topics. Maybe I get caught up with pro wrestling on one show, and we have guests come in and talk about it. Maybe I have one show that's a react show where we react to various videos and things. I don't know. But that kind of stuff is always a possibility that I could jump into if needed. Right now, things are going really well with me with gameplay streams, variety of gameplay, right? Having a wheel peripheral and playing chill, driving games, chill indie games, AAA games, throwback games. It's all working. It's working very, very well, and everyone's enjoying. So there's no reason to go crazy over, oh, we need new stuff. No, we don't, actually. Things are going very well right now. CyberElk says, so the days of you playing whatever you truly want are over. I miss the old days. Well, there's some exceptions. For example, I still pushed through with Clair Obscur. And as I explained to you, if we, moving forward this year, let's say I end up having a really good week for some reason. Someone comes by and drops a giant contribution, or I do a marathon that does insanely well, then maybe I would actually schedule a stream of Clair Obscur that we could do some of the post-game content because I really want to do it. I love that game, right? But it just sucks, listen, the thing is, when I started on YouTube, it didn't matter what I did. It got views, it got ad revenue, and I could basically play and do whatever I wanted. When I became an interactive streamer, that all changed because now it's about who's going to come to a stream and support a stream as the on-demand videos took a back seat. Take a look at the on-demand videos today, dude. To be honest with you, they barely get any views because everyone steals my content. So because of that, all the views that I used to get the ad revenue on have gone to people who are thieves. So because of that, I have to rely on what I get on streams, which means I have to stream things people will show up and engage and support with. And that's the only way I'm going to survive moving forward, right? And I'm okay with that, but sadly, it means that there's got to be sacrifices. Now, every once in a while, if I announce something special like the Soy Code N playthrough, people, Phil's actually going to do a classic from his past that he has passion for. We're going to come out, we're going to support that. And they did. And it worked. And I'm very appreciative of that. I really am. But sadly, it's not always going to be like that. There's going to be times when I want to do what I want to do and I can't do it. And there's not much that I could do about it, right? Like, I just got to accept reality. In reality, you can't always do 100% of what you want to do all the time. It's life, it really is. And I get it. Some people are disappointed because they know that there's things that I would like to do that I'm not doing. And what can I do? I got to pay the bills. I got to support my family. I can't just say, hey, come here every day and play another RPG that everyone tunes out for and complains about, and I make $10 playing for 5 hours, right? Can't. I got to do what's going to bring in the stuff. What can I say? I don't want to totally change, and there will be cases where I make the hard decisions. I could have quit Clair Obscur. I could have quit Blueprints. These are both playthroughs that have not consistently brought in support, but I finished them. I did finally finish Clair Obscur, and Blueprints we are still playing. All right. So, but I can't do it all the time. King Michael, how are you this morning? Good to see you. Well, this afternoon now, right? All right, folks. It is time to end the show and get set up for Death Stranding 2. I want to say, to end the show, thank you for an outstanding streaming week. I mean it. This week, tip-top stuff. I mean, every stream was fun. It was hopping. We had a great time hanging out with each other, did we not? And in addition to that, very well-supported week. In fact, so far, there was only one stream where we didn't hit a support goal, and it was the stream when I beat Onimusha 2 in like 20 minutes. So I had the impromptu swap, and no one was really ready for me swapping to anything. So what are you going to do about that? That just happens. That's life. But outside of that, every stream that went down as planned, people showed up, engaged, and supported. We're on pace to do another DSP Tries It on Monday. This is excellent stuff. Thank you guys so very much. What a great week it was. Great week, right? Content, finishing playthroughs, chill vibes, everything good. And like I said, if this continues at the level it is, all right, I can continue to do things such as buy a game and try it, and if it doesn't work, drop it. It's okay. Buy an expensive-ass peripheral to add a whole new aspect to the content I'm doing because it's not a big deal because I'm making so much, I can afford all that stuff, right? That's the kind of shit that I told you guys over the years I always wanted to do, and I couldn't. Now I can do it because of you. I hope that you understand, you can see now, I was telling the truth all those years that if I had the flexibility to do these things, I would have, because now I can and I am. All right? Good stuff, my friends. Thank you so very much for watching the Level 1 podcast. I am off from streaming. I'm off from streaming tomorrow, but I return on Sunday with a new fresh show to start the new week, plus more Death Stranding 2, and the return of American Truck Simulator, now with a whole bunch of new states unlocked that we can do new runs and exciting new things. So thank you guys so much. I will see you then. Peace out.